What's going on, beautiful people? Guess who's back? It's your brother from another mother, different father, and I'm on that Varnell Hill. Did you miss me? So, I know this has been long awaited. I know I took what they call a sabbatical or hiatus for a while. Pretty much just because I really didn't feel like doing content. But I felt like it's time for your boy Trouble T, aka the OG, Mr. Controversy with this sneaker thing, to jump back in it and give some new, fresh perspectives on what's going on in the industry that we love so much. The fact that we love sneakers, we love sneaker culture. Some of us sell, whatever the case may be. I know everybody doesn't agree with what it is that I do or that I say, but it's okay because in essence, hey, what's for you is for you. Eat the meat, spit out the bone. If it ain't for you, it's just not for you. You get what I'm saying? So the question today is sneaker resale culture dead? The death of sneaker resale and resale culture. Well, I'm going to jump right in and answer that question for you. So the answer is no, right? But I do feel like that there are things that are put out there to make you believe that it is. Also, too, the reason for these things that are put out there to make you believe that it is to transition it back to how it originally used to be. So I know you're probably like, Troy, what are you talking about? So if you pay attention, like resale hasn't been huge locally for those like individuals that resell, not necessarily businesses, boutiques, things like that, but individuals that resell. There hasn't been an overwhelming amount of it going on. Whether you have a sneaker business, and you just flip sneakers to make a couple of extra dollars or whatever the case may be, you notice that the local reseller is kind of quiet. They're a little muted. But if you look on the bigger platforms, and shout out to my bro, Troll, who on his Instagram, he kind of shows like a lot of the bigger guys or guys that are bigger in the culture that collect or that resell or boutiques that resell, that business has not really been affected to that degree for those type of guys. And, like with the overcharging and things like that. So what's happening is this is the transition. The transition is they want all the small guys out of here. It's really systematic. I know it sounds crazy, but listen to me and hear me out. So they want those small guys out of here because if you look, the decline in the sneaker market has happened with apps like StockX, GOAT, things like that. Like certain sneakers haven't been reselling for the amount that they typically have. Like the heightened resale amount on these apps, you really don't see as much as you used to. Like certain Jordan 1s and things like that, they may settle at a resale amount of like $250, depending on how exclusive the shoe is or the collaboration with the brand. You really haven't been seeing the heightened resale prices with certain shoes and things like that. However, though, with the big wigs and these big companies and those on these platforms, like I'll give you an example. Let's see, you may see a video on YouTube of Full Size Run. I use that. I don't know if it's still called that, but like Full Size Run. And, they talk about shoes and how like regular people who aren't willing to pay the price shouldn't have access to these limited shoes, things like that. And I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying verbatim what they said, but I'm just using this as an example. So in essence, what's going on with the sneaker business is the goal is to have all of the small guys out. Because again, if everybody has everything that they have, how can they survive? I want you to think about that. So if the small fry has the same thing that the boutiques have and can actually charge what they want based off of what they get them for, you don't think they would want you out? Like, you're a threat. And shout out to my homie, I won't say his name. He'll know who I'm talking about. But we had a conversation a while ago, and he made a great point. The reason why these boutiques and bigger like sneaker businesses or resellers, they fight you is because they have an additional expense. Like you have no overhead. If you just live at home, you get shoes and you sell shoes or whatever the case may be. The first and foremost thing is that, number one, you have no overhead. They do. They have rent for the spaces that they lease. They have employees that they have to pay. Things like that. You, if you're just the average reseller and you just home and you just sell out of your business, you don't have the overhead of rent for a shop, which is astronomical, depending on where you are. I know here in Philly, in the Philly area, it's crazy. You are dolo. You don't have employees to pay. You get what I'm saying? Also, too, it's a standard pricing in resale that everybody goes by that technically StockX has originated and set. So once this price is set for whatever the shoe is supposed to go for, whatever size shoe and whatever shoe it is supposed to go for, StockX kind of puts it out there like, hey, this is what's being charged or what we're charging for the shoe. And then everybody seems to follow that method. You, on the other hand, depending on what you get the shoe for, you can sell it for more reasonable than that. These are all threats. So this is the point of the all-out assault and attack on small-time resellers, because you don't have these issues to deal with like these bigger guys. You don't have that to deal with. So they don't want you out here in the market reselling. So it was intentionally done, like lowering the pricing on shoes and things like that was intentionally done so people don't have to come to you to actually get the shoe. They can go to back to StockX now. They can go back to the boutiques because the pricing kind of went down. So technically it's like everybody take a hit in order to be reset. And now they have the control again, because now look at what you're seeing now. You're starting to see more content of boutiques and these guys in these shows talking about these limited sneakers. And then all of a sudden, these boutiques have early access and access to stuff that's limited. And even old stuff that you don't really see in the like the resale market anymore, that have been going for years. Shoes that have released years ago, now they're starting to resurface. And the resale prices are creeping back up to astronomical. Real versus fake is becoming a thing again. Again, shout out the troll. Like, pay attention to his Instagram and his YouTube with these rants that are intentional. People intentionally do these things about real versus fake and how we don't respect people that buy UAs, like you messing up the sneaker culture. But again, you know what my question is, like, where do we don't know where your sneakers come from, but we know it's not retail. But that's another video, so I digress. So a sneaker resale they're trying to kill it for the small fries. So it's been, and you realize, like, a lot of people I know that resell that are on the smaller end haven't been doing it because of this intentional attack. And they blame it on the economic side of things. Excuse me, like the economy. They blame it on that. Well, the economy's bad, so nobody's making no money. That's not true, because I still see people in the malls I'm at. I still see people wearing Jordan 1 trophy rooms. I still see people wearing the Paul Rodriguez dunks. I still see people wearing the crazy stuff, Amamier 12s, and you get what I'm saying? I still see that. So it's not a decline in the economy. It's an intentional assault on the smaller sneaker people to get y'all back out of here so they can start making their money again, because they don't have to fight with you or compete with you. Because first, let me tell you, the first form of fighting you was if somebody bought shoes from you, they take them to a quote unquote legit checker in a boutique. And they be like, nah, the first question is, what's the first question? For those of you that have taken sneakers to get them quote unquote legit check, what's the first question they ask you? Where did you get these from? Right? Is that the first question? Where did you get these from? Then when you tell them or don't tell them, because they know it wasn't them, they go on this fake checking spree, looking at stitching, third row placement, carbon fiber checks, the way the Jumpman is stitched. They go through this whole rigmarole, even remember black light testing. So stupid. They go through that and they be like, yeah, I don't know where you got these from, but these ain't it. We ain't gonna take these. Or They're not legit. It's all a setup. It's all a setup. And again, what's happening is history is repeating itself. That's the reason why I'm like, I got to jump back out here and I got to get ahead of this because I see what's going on. So that's what they want to do. They want to take you guys out. So that's why when you do buy what they call quote unquote UAs, it's videos made of these people going through these rants. Damn, like that's kind of like, you know, like damaging the reputation of it. And saying that, no, that's not valid. I don't respect you if you do that. You're hurting sneaker culture. Whole time, they're purchasing the same thing that you purchase. Yeah. These pairs that these boutiques and people are getting, especially in the amounts that are getting them, they're not retail pair. How come stores that are retail, that are, again, we can go back to this old school stuff that I used to talk about, like tier 1 accounts. Or tier 0. I forget, tier 0, tier 1 accounts, where certain boutiques that are authorized with the brands, yes, we're going back here, because they felt like they can be slick because I've been going for a while and I haven't talked about this for a while. But guess what? Mr. Controversy and his sneaker thing is back. The OG of controversy is back. So what's the issue? The issue is they talk down to you based off of how you get your shoes when they get them the same way. I have proof and receipts of everything I say. Every single thing I say. I've got so embedded in this sneaker resale culture, like studying it and trying to understand like why there's an all-out attack when you try to do it versus these big stores and big boutiques on these platforms and things like that. Why they have such a problem with you getting limited shoes. It's because you can expose them because they get them the same way. And this is just a conversation. You're going to see some crazier content. This is just the introductory conversation to what's going on and why they're trying to make it seem like sneaker, like the culture for smaller resellers is dead. Because they've killed it. They did it. It's not dead for no other reason. They did it so they can gain control back. So they can start doing that real versus fake stuff. So they can start selling these pair. So they can look validated. You know what the difference is between you and them if you sell? The difference is perception. They have a shop. They have sometimes celebrity backing. And these celebrities ain't paying for shoes. They're giving them shoes so they can get photo ops and things like that. Like, that's the difference. The perception, how they look versus how you look. You just look like a small fry that's just selling some shoes and you can sell them for whatever price you sell them for. There's nothing believable about you in the sense of you being somebody who sells legit shoes. You get what I'm saying? But the perception of them having a shop, having a quote unquote legitimate business, somewhere you can come into and shop, that's what makes them look more legitimate. That's the big cover up to where they're getting their shoes. Nobody questions them because they look like a bigger and more professional business entity. You guys have heard me say this plenty of times. That's why nobody gives them problem. That's why they are so trustworthy and people bring shoes to these shops because they're like, oh, they're a legitimate business. They got a shop, so they got to know what they're talking about. Whole time on the back end, they're doing the same thing you do, just on a bigger scale. I tried to tell y'all. But look, I'm going to end this introductory video here. Content is going to be insane. Stay tuned to the channel because the next follow up to this is going to be some of the contradictions that you see they do, but they judge smaller people for doing. So again, it's your boy Trouble T. Roy, again, your brother from another mother, different father. Hey, Mr. Controversy is back. Stay tuned. Footage is coming. Content is coming. And I'm going to leave it right there. All right. Y'all have a great day. I'll catch up with y'all. Peace.